attractive. It's really hard to get an attractive shoe. Clark's can be attractive. And but the Alfani, whatever this is, from Macy's is a great brand.
Okay.
I talked my buyer off the ledge.
Which one?
The one I was telling you guys about yesterday with the foundation. So we're meeting with the builder at 1:00.
Oh, good.
Okay. I think we are live on the internet, which is always a fun adventure. But it's 11 o'clock, so let's get started.
Turn my phone off.
We've got some people here in class, so I'll do my best to be engaging online and also engaging here in person. So if you're joining me online, make sure you comment where you're coming from. I'd love to see where our people are coming from, all the different places. So I knew that I was going to be going to the Tom Ferry Success Summit, and I knew that I was going to be seeing the author Phil Jones. And actually, Linda, who's here in class, she was there. She got to hear him speak as well. And so in preparation for seeing him, I was like, I'm going to schedule a class so that I have to go in even deeper, right? Read the book, study it. And so I give you guys that preference because that's why I'm doing this class. Like, what's the best way to truly internalize something? Teach it, right? If you really, really want to do it. So you guys are here in the class. Some of you guys are going to be hearing this for the first time. Some of this is going to be hearing it in a different light. And I'm going to encourage you guys to go out and teach this to somebody else and use it, because if you don't, you're just not going to retain it like you want to. So Kelsey's got the link right here, so you can download the resources or scan that little QR code. As you guys know, I'm always looking for agents here in the Phoenix metro area. So if you're looking to join the Big Helper team, you can go ahead and click on that link or on those resources. I'll show this again at the end, and I've got some slides. And of course, the slides will be on the Resilient Realtor Facebook page as well. So why are we talking about this? The subject for today is all around listings. So we're predominantly focused on listings. And also, you got to remember, I schedule my classes a quarter in advance. So when it was Q2 and I was scheduling this class, listings were in short supply. Well, we've tripled our inventory here in the Phoenix metro area. And so the listing conversation is actually just slightly different. So we're still going to stay on listings, but I want to bring up an interesting point, right? When you go on a listing presentation, a portion of it is letting them know how much their home is worth, okay? But that's not really the reason why you're there. Because if they just wanted to know their value, they're going to go where, right? They're going to go to Zillow. They're going to fill out one of those automations. And you know what? Sometimes those robots are pretty dang good. I don't think they're going to take our place by any means. Am I trying to say that? Because, you know, we can smell a house for one, and we can see, you know, how a home is different than a neighbor's home. But really what you're there to do is to earn their trust and to provide value, right? We are not robots. We actually humanize the selling process. And there's a specific set of skills that you need to be able to do that, to build trust, to build rapport. And it all starts by asking questions. Phil Jones, the author of Exactly What to Say, this was one of my favorite quotes from, it's in his book and it's also in his speaking. He said, the worst time to think about what to say is in the moment that you're saying it. And I think that you guys would probably agree. Has there ever been a time where you were like, you know, just kind of caught off, and so you're trying to think, and then you go, why did I say that? Like open mouth, insert foot, right? Like, but had you been able to prepare, right, you would have said something different. I tell you guys this all the time. I make Merrill, my husband, role play with me all the time when I have to deliver bad news to a seller, deliver bad news to a buyer. I'll call up, be like, hey, let me walk through this real quick, right? I want to mess up on a team member per se in a role play because that's a safe place than on my client. I don't like practicing on my client. And so how do we prepare? Well, a lot of times what I do is I write things out, right? That's the point of scripts. It's not to sound like a robot. It's to give you options, right? And Phil Jones likes to focus a lot on questions. And man, he's got some phenomenal questions and question patterns. And having watched him, so here, these are the books. The one on the left is the original book, and I have that one. And I also have the one on the right, which is for real estate agents. I think they're both phenomenal books. This one is probably the field guide that you're looking for, because you can like cut, paste, insert exactly what you need. But I had the opportunity to watch him role play with some top producing agents at the Tom Ferry Success Summit. And I walked away from that interaction realizing that as agents, we don't ask enough questions. We're kind of waiting we ask just enough questions to be like, okay, I got it. Right? Like, we think we know where they're going to go. We think we know what their objections are. And as soon as we get just this slice of what we're looking for, we set off, right? Like we start to lead and direct. And when I watched Phil Jones, he would ask 2 or 3 more questions and then start to handle the objections, which was, it was so interesting to watch. And if you YouTube him, he's got a bunch of videos and different things that he's done with Curator, and actually they co-authored this version of the book. So that's what we're going to do, is we're actually going to jump in and we're going to handle some of his magic phrases in the listing aspect. And the whole premise of this class around listings is we need to ask better questions. We need to prepare for our listing presentations with more questions, because when we assume that we know the answer, right? That whole saying, when you assume you make an ass out of you and me, well, it's absolutely true. But when we assume we know the answer, or we are asking questions and not listening, we're actually not building rapport. We're not gaining trust. And when you ask questions, you start conversations. When you have good conversations, you build relationships. Right now, I've been telling you guys, have conversations that matter, have conversations that count. So if you're having conversations that build relationships create opportunity, right? We're in a relationship business. We're in a contact sport. If you don't know how to talk to people, you need to take a step back and focus on those soft skills. And we've all met that person that's like awkward to talk to, and it's not an enjoyable experience, and you're like trying to back out of the room, right? Or like get out of that conversations. So relationships create opportunities, and opportunities lead to decisions, right? I got an email this morning from a client that I helped them buy their house. Probably it had to be 8 years ago. They bought a house from me. Then I helped them sell their house. They got divorced. I helped them get into a rental. And she just emailed me this morning and says, "You've helped me multiple times in my life. Do you think you could help me in this next step?" That's an opportunity because of a relationship that was built. Now, I send her birthday cards. We don't have a home anniversary anymore, so I'm not sending her home anniversary, but we're connected on social media. I'm still keeping in touch with her. So I've earned that relationship, you know what I mean, over the years. But that's why we ask better questions. So we're just going to go straight into some of his magic phrases. So the first one is open-minded. Now, in his book, he gives you really good explanations about why these are magic phrases. And the one thing that I will say about open-minded is nobody wants to be considered closed-minded, right? No, like, how open-minded are you? So when you ask someone about open-minded, would you be open-minded, or how open-minded are you? They immediately want to be considered open-minded. And so they will actually listen because they don't want to be considered. So here's a couple examples. Would you be open-minded to lowering your asking price if it would create some immediate interest? right? That's one of the things right now that we're dealing with price reductions. How do you go in for the price reduction, right? Like legitimately, what is your script going into the price reduction? A lot of our sellers typically don't want to lower the price, right? And one of the things that we're seeing right now is inventory is creeping. And the more inventory we have, right, the more price reductions we're starting to see. And price reductions are at an all-time high. So if you're struggling with a price reduction, try opening the sentence with, how open-minded to lowering the asking price would you be if it could create some immediate interest? They'll probably say something like, well, possibly, or they might say no, right? Kathy from California is here. How open-minded would you be to working with an experienced local agent to help you sell your home, right? What are some scenarios we could use that one, right? That's like for sale by owner, or we're thinking about selling our home by ourselves. I'm thinking about using my cousin who just got licensed, right? How open-minded would you be to, working with a full-time local agent to help you sell your home? So these are some of those initial conversations that you can start. How open are you to listing your home while the market's still hot? Right? You could change that though. I was thinking along the lines of going into fourth quarter, right? We're going to start to get, what's the objection that we're going to start to get in November and December for listings? Holidays, right? Like how many of you guys, have people like, well, I just want to wait until the holidays are over. I don't want to list my home during the holidays, right? So we could say, Linda, how open-minded would you be to listing your home during the holidays or insert during winter, right? When there are fewer homes for sale and the buyers are more serious, right? So anytime we want them to hear us out, we use the magic phrase, how open-minded are you, right? Because we don't want them to immediately cut us off. Have you ever spoken to somebody and you bring something up and they're like immediately, you can just feel the resistance? Mm-hmm. Try price reductions. Immediately, well, I'm not lowering the price. I'm not lowering the price. I'm not lowering the price. So we're gonna hit a couple more on there, but I think the big one for me right now is dealing with the timing of the market, right? Well, we're thinking we're waiting till the spring. At this point, we're probably just wait. Well, how open-minded would you be to listing where, while the market is still hot, right? Or when there's fewer homes for sale, but the buyers are a little bit more serious. So the next one is out of curiosity. Now, the reason that I like out of curiosity, and I use this a lot of times with my coaching clients, is it will soften anything that comes after that, right? So I could say, did you work out this morning, Nancy? And she'd be like, get out of my business, Christy. I could say, out of curiosity, what time did you wake up? It just softens it a little bit. Or I'm curious, how did you come to that conclusion? So instead of saying, you are ridiculous, I can't believe you would even say that, I'm curious, or out of curiosity, what makes you think that? Right? It just softens what comes next. But it also is a very leading question. So, out of curiosity, what is your experience when selling a home? Right? That's a phenomenal question that is going and this is what Phil Jones does, right? So instead of assuming that Linda sold a home and she knows what's going to go down, I'm going to say, out of curiosity, what is your experience with selling a home? And she's going to give me a couple things like, oh, I've never done it before. We did it, but we hated our realtor. We did it. We loved our realtor. She showed our home personally to every single buyer. She came in and swept between every showing, disinfected. And all of a sudden now I'm getting a bunch of information like, right? Either they hated the experience, they know what they're doing, they don't know what they're doing. And, that's all really good insight. And that's why you want to ask these kind of questions. So another one would be if you get the objections that the seller wants to talk to the spouse before making a decision, right? So this could be in an appointment setting, like, oh, I got to talk to my spouse, right? We're going to handle spouses a lot because most of the time, what is that? I need to talk to my spouse. It's like, yeah, it's just they just want to stall you, right? They don't want to commit, right? So Phil Jones says, okay, just out of curiosity, when are you going to be speaking to your spouse? So they say, I need to speak to, okay, oh, that's fantastic. Just out of curiosity, when are you going to be speaking to your spouse, right? and what is your spouse's opinion on selling the home? Just out of curiosity, right? It softens the ask after it and makes them a little bit more willing to do that. So you can use just, out of curiosity, or I'm just curious, think about that. And this is where that practice piece comes in, right? You know the magic phrase, think about the scenario that you're in and what's the best magic phrase that's going to fit. So another one is, how important is it? What I like about this magic phrase is, again, I want to gauge, let's just talk sellers, like what's more important, selling at a certain price or closing the deal as fast as possible, right? Like there's always, are you looking for the easiest experience because you've already purchased another house and you got to get out, you know what I mean? Or is this the hard and fast line, I have to net this much money? Or how important is it that I'm here for every single showing, right? How important is it security? You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's a great leading question for them to tell you exactly the buttons you need to push, right? Because it's all about them. Is the listing presentation about us? Minutely about us. And the only part that's really about us is to answer their questions so that they know, bless you, so they know that we are the best option. So how important is it to you that your home sell quickly? That is such a loaded question right now, right? Because homes in the Phoenix metro area are not selling as quickly as they were, say, in Q1 of this year. So by asking that question, I'm going to get a lot of information. We don't need to sell. I can just wait this out, right? Like I'm going to get motivation from that question, right? Well, we've, my husband's already relocated. I'm going to stay here until the home sells. The kids are already starting school in New Jersey. You know what I mean? Okay. So it's pretty important that we sell this home quickly. And what does that tell me about my pricing strategy if I know that they need to sell this home quickly?
It's got to be a compelling price.
Yeah, it's got to be priced. Like if the most important thing is that we sell this home quickly, and then they say, yeah, we want to list high. We've got some conflicting information here. Mm-hmm. And so again, this is such a great open question because they're going to give you details that allow you to ask the next question before you go straight into your pitch, right? So, so how important is it that you achieve that price? Well, Chrissy, I really wanted to, get at least 700 for this home. Okay. And how important is it to you that you achieve that price? They're going to tell you why, most likely. They're going to give you, well, because I've already, am buying a home over here. And if I don't net this much money, then I'm not going to have enough money for my down payment. Now, all of a sudden, I'm uncovering the story behind the story. So that's another one that I really, really like. How important, this would be more for an expired. This is a great one for expireds. How important is it that the next time you list your property, it actually sells for a price that you're happy with? That's just a great lead in, right? Now, like that one's specific to an expired, or you could use it on for sale by owner. How important is it to you that when you do sell this home, that it's for a price that you're happy with? So that one can be adjusted a little bit if you're working expireds, if you're working cancels, if you're working for sale by owners. Another great magic phrase that I like, and if you guys think of another example, feel free to put it in the chat, or you guys in the class obviously speak up. So another one of the magic phrases, how would you feel if? Now, we have to remember psychology of sales, right? People make decisions based off of emotions, and they justify with logic. Do emotions feel? Well, absolutely, right? And we're going to use another magic phrase here, just imagine. So when Phil Jones says, how would you feel if, right? What we're trying to do is bring some emotion in and get them to use a multi-sensory, well, how would you feel if, and let's find an example. How would you feel if the repairs you want to make don't result in additional profit, right? So have you ever been on the phone with a seller that's like, you can't come over to see the home yet because I'm still working on it? That's one that we hear a lot, right? Like as soon as I'm done, you can come over. Well, there's some, we can save you a lot of money because I'll tell you that, don't ship in that Italian marble for for every single bathroom and kitchen in the house, right? I can tell you that the crazy herringbone tile that with the crazy pattern on it, that I saw one actually, one of my coaching clients, it's her listing. They've put this crazy tile, and every single buyer that comes in is like, well, this is just so loud, right? Now they loved it, put it in the home, thinking it's going to help the home sell for more money, right? So, how would you feel if you guys, took 2 more months getting the home ready just to, not be able to do that, right? Another great one is, this is more along like, we get a buyer on the table right now. We got to keep these buyers engaged, right? Like this is a skill you guys need to work on. If you've got a listing and you got a buyer, they come in with a lowball offer because you've been on the market for a while, and now your seller's like, reject it. Well, how would you feel if we lost this buyer? Right?
Lost the contract.
Yeah. How would you feel if we lost this in repairs, right? So we get a really aggressive repair request. How would you feel if we had to go back on the market? Showings had to start again. Like,
For $5,000.
Yeah, for $5,000. That I love. Okay, so she gives a really good example. So she said, how would you feel if we lost this buyer, had to go back on the market, all because of a baby gate? Right? Like and then shut up. Let that sink in. Yeah, you know what? That doesn't feel great. I don't want to go back on the market. Let's go ahead and remove the baby gate or give them the baby gate. Maybe they want the baby gate to stay, right? Price reduction time. How would you feel if 6 months from now your home was still on the market? Because this is where it's like, well, Christy, we don't have to sell. So we're just willing to wait it out. Okay. So Nancy, how would you guys feel if 6 months from now your home was still on the market? Right? Like that's again, these questions are going to help you uncover their motivation. Just a PSA here. It is not our job to convince someone to sell or not, right? Like they either need to sell their home or they don't. My job is to help them see that I'm the best option, right? And that I'm going to guide them through this changing market. This is a really good one too, to fill out your client and their motivation. How would you feel if the home didn't sell quickly? Right? So what they say, well, my neighbor Linda, she listed her home, and in January they had a line of people out the door to see at the open house. They got 25 offers and they sold for $150,000 over. So we're just really excited to sell our home now. Okay, Linda, how would you feel if your home didn't sell quickly? How would you feel if we didn't get any showings because we listed too high? Right? Like, again, it's all designed to spark conversation. So then this leads up to another magic phrase of just imagine. Now, I'm sure all of the realtors on here, they've naturally done this with buyers, right? You walk in and you can see the buyers are given all the signals that this is the home. What are some of the things that they say that you're like, they like this home? Can you just imagine the Christmas tree? Like this is, we do Sunday dinner game night and the kitchen table will fit perfect here, right? They literally imagine themselves in the home. So from a buyer's perspective, I think you guys do this, man, could you just imagine summer nights in the pool? Kids, you come home from work, you're so tired, you just want to cool down, you jump in the pool, turn on the barbecue, the bistro lights come on, Alexa, turn on, 80s rock music. Whatever it is. And now all of a sudden the buyers are moving into the home. So we can use this with sellers as well. Just imagine if we don't listen to the market responding to our price and your home is still on the market in 6 months from now, right? So we used, how would you feel, right? We could also use just imagine, right? Just imagine what it's going to, I really like this one. So when you are, in the listing appointment and you're talking about your value proposition, right? And, you could say, Janice is on here from Kalamazoo. So Janice, just imagine my stager's going to come in here. We're going to completely address this whole situation that you brought up, right? Because we're using their words. But imagine when that buyer walks in and sees the house immaculately staged. They're going to want to buy this home, right? Because I specialize in creating magic moments for buyers in my listings. And then they're going to think like, oh yeah, I remember when I walked into the model home, right? Especially if you've shown them homes. I think that's actually the next one. Yeah. Just imagine what it's going to be like when a buyer walks in here and the house is impeccably staged, right? Here's one. You got a busy mom, tons of kids. The house is just crazy. And you've got all the referral partners you need. Just imagine if I could have my cleaners come over here and help you depersonalize the home, and then the stager comes in. Wouldn't it be easy then for us to get this home sold? Right? You want them to paint a picture. You want them to see themselves in the state that which would be the home selling, easy to sell the home, right? Like a lot of times that's a big issue. I literally cannot imagine selling my home, living in it with all the kids that we have. Like it would take a really great salesperson to get me to sell my home while living in it. But you could also use this for your clients that are elderly, right? And they do need to depersonalize. They need to declutter, but they don't have the manpower. Their family's in another state, right? Just imagine if I could have the movers come over and help you pack up and figure out, what we could take off your plate. Just imagine if my lawn care people came in and they cleaned all of this up. Would that make it easier for you to get the home ready to sell, right? Like you really want to see themselves in that position. So next magic phrase is, how certain are you? I really like this one because this kind of is, let's get a little bit of doubt in there, right? Like, well, my home is going to sell for $100,000 more than my neighbor because I just put in a tankless water heater, and we put the extra long nails in the garage instead of the little ones. We really invested in that, whatever crazy thing, right? Like, well, I've got a new dishwasher and we replaced the water heater, and you're like, okay, that's all maintenance stuff. But yes, let's try to figure out where this $100,000 coming from. So we use how certain are you to infuse just a little bit of doubt, right? So in this case, the objection would be, they say, well, I'm thinking of hiring my brother-in-law, or I'm thinking of hiring Joe Schmo, right? You can say something along the lines of, well, how certain are you that they have the experience to get you the best outcome, right? How certain are you that they're actually going to be looking out for your best interest? So rather than, cutting down that other agent, which is obviously never a good idea, rather than, attacking from the front, just infuse a little bit of doubt. How certain are you that they have the marketing plan proven, like I've just shown you, that they're going to be able to expose your home to the right buyers? Right? So it's just a way to infuse doubt. So here's another one. Another agent's offering a discount or a lower commission. We never experienced that, right? Never. So how certain are you that a lower cost option will leave you with more money in your pocket overall? Right? Let that sink in. When someone wants to, well, so-and-so is going to do it for a flat fee. Well, I'm just curious, right? Soften it. I'm just curious. How certain are you that the lowest cost option is actually going to net you the most money? If I could prove to you, right, or if I could show you that through my marketing plan, we actually net more money, wouldn't it make sense for us to explore that? You can take a lot of these magic words and pull them all together. So here's another one for sale by owner. How certain are you that you will get the quantity of interest on this home without a progressive online marketing plan? Or how certain are you that you're reaching all of the available buyers? Because I got to be honest, right? Like, we've got a pretty aggressive online marketing platform. I've got over 20,000 people in my database actively searching for homes. So how certain are you that you're going to be able to capture all of the interest, right? Next magic phrase. Could it be possible? So again, this is more of a, they're giving you an objection or they've said something that is not right. And it's like you the customer's always right, except for when they're not, and you got to help them internalize that. So maybe they want to work with somebody else, right? So they're saying, well, I just got to work with this guy because they're the one that sold me the house, right? But they called you because they've been getting your marketing. They see that you're an excellent agent and you have all this marketing. So, could it be possible that choosing us would be the better option for you? Could it be possible? That's just a phenomenal way for them to open up and tell you more, right? So again, I'm not trying to shut down the objection. The objection's there, but I want to keep them talking. I want to keep them engaged. So my friend sold their home without an agent. That definitely happened a lot in 2021 and the first part of 2022. We're not seeing it quite as much here in the Phoenix metro area, but could it be possible that your friend left money on the table by not hiring a professional? Right? So I'm not going to say, well, your friend is an idiot. But I can infuse a little bit of doubt and help them see additional sides. So could it be possible that your friend left money on the table? So again, my friend or my family, my cousin just got their real estate license. And that's actually one that we hit a lot. He's like, well, my best friend's husband is a realtor. Could it be possible that mixing family and business is a bad idea? Well, actually, I was a little bit worried about that, right? I can understand that. Tell me more about that, right? And then I want to hear. I'm not gonna go, you're right, it is a bad idea. Let's go ahead and sign the paperwork. Tell me more about that. And then they're going to tell you all their fears. Could it be possible that, go back to the top one, choosing me would be the best option? After they tell you, most likely they'll talk themselves into it, right? Or you could even offer to pay them a referral fee, right? What if we just paid them a referral fee and you still got my exceptional service? Could it be possible that choosing me is the best option? Right? Here's another one. They're willing to list my home for more money. Well, so-and-so told me that my home was worth this much. And, we're telling them the truth, right? We're telling them the truth. So could it be possible that they are suggesting it's worth more purely to secure the listing, right? So oftentimes what I've said is, a lot of times an agent will tell you what you want to hear because they basically want to buy the listing. But that does sound right? Like you can see the difference in saying something along the lines of, could it be possible that they're suggesting it's worth more just to get you to sign the listing with them? Versus many agents will tell you whatever you want to hear so that you'll list with them. It just is, it's that internal reflection that makes them come to the idea on their own. See, I'm planting the idea when I say many agents will tell you whatever you want to hear. When I say, could it be possible, they're going to go back in to themselves and they're going to think about, oh, you know what, it could be possible. Maybe they are just trying to get me this thing. And what would happen if then they started coming back and asking for price reductions every single week, right? What would happen if there we go. So then could it be possible? Just imagine you sign the listing with them only to have them ask for a price reduction every other week. Wow. Yeah, that sounds awful. So here's another one. Help me understand. This one is so great because it'll give you some time to think, for one. So they say something totally off the wall, right? And you're just like, okay, hold on, right? You need some time to think. So help me understand is a way to probe with permission, right? Permission to probe and get additional information. So they want to hire another agent that costs less money. Again, commission objection, let's call it. Help me understand how them lowering their commission is better for you. I love that, right? Well, because then I'm not going to be paying out as much. Is it possible? Let's go back to the one that we just had, is it possible? Or what was it? The one that we just did. See, that's why you got to practice. Could it be possible? The one, there was one that we just did, but I think it was, could it be possible that them lowering their commission actually resulted in less marketing dollars and less eyeballs on the home? Right? So you could tie that one with another one, but help me understand how them lowering their commission helps you, right? Is it really more about how much you are saving in commissions or how much you net in the end? Just imagine if I could sell the home and cover my own fees, would it make sense? Right? Like there's, you can get there. So here's another one. Objection. I need to speak to my spouse first. Help me understand your spouse's role in the decision-making process. Out of curiosity, when are you going to be speaking to your spouse? Right? And that's super important, right? Have you ever been in a presentation, like a buyer's presentation or listing presentation, and you can tell that the person you've been talking to is not the one that's actually making the decisions? That's such a horrible place to be, especially if they have different personality profiles, because like if they're an expressive and they're trying to tell an analytical, oh my gosh, that's just a nightmare, right? Or the analytical is trying to tell the expressive and the expressive doesn't need all of that. So I really like that one. But I do like this one as well, added, when they say something out of left field, or just because they have lagging data, right? So again, well, my neighbor in January, this was their experience. Help me understand your thoughts on the current market conditions. This is actually probably going to be one of my leading questions now going into a listing appointment, like probably on the phone, qualifying the listing appointment. I'm going to ask this question because I need to know when I go in if I need to defend my position or if I just need to justify the price, right? Like, so if they're still in this la la land of sellers can do whatever they want, that's a very different listing presentation start than, yeah, we understand that, homes are not selling as quickly, but we still really need to sell. Okay, right? So this is one of the ones that I'm actually going to use on the phone in preparation for the listing appointment. Same thing would actually work with buyers as well, because maybe they think again that the list price is the starting price and that it's going to go $100,000 over like it has been, for a year, which is not the case that we're seeing right now. And then this one really gives you some time to think when they say something off the wall, like, well, we just put a door on that den, so we should be able to get an extra 50,000, right? And so you can say something along the lines of, help me understand what you've read that makes you think that.
Well, mine was because we back up to school, there's no one behind us.
Yeah. Nancy just went on a listing presentation. They wanted way more money because they back up to a school. So that's a perfect transit. You know what, Nancy? Help me understand what you've read that makes you think that, right? Where are they getting their knowledge? And then, well, actually, I don't really know that. I just saw it on a Facebook post. Okay, well, I'm really glad that you told me that. And clear your cookies. Get off Facebook. So this is one of my favorite ones. This works in text message, it works in voicemail, and it works like actually live on the phone when you are following up with somebody. And the magic phrase is, I'm guessing you haven't gotten around to, right? So we send them the listing paperwork and, they don't sign it right away. You send them the purchase contract and they don't sign it right away, right? Or I needed to speak to my spouse about setting up a time for you to come over, right? So you can't get them to set the appointment because they got to talk to the spouse. So I'm guessing you haven't gotten around to. Typically what will happen is when you introduce this magic phrase, one of two things. They will either have done it. Oh, actually we did. We just talked about it. Or they'll say, oh, I'm so sorry. And they will fix the problem. They will be like, I haven't, and I've been really busy and I'm so sorry. Well, just out of curiosity, when are you going to be speaking to your spouse? right? Like, again, magic phrase to magic phrase. So let's talk about how we can soften the blow of, I'm guessing you haven't gotten around to. So I like to use this when someone's ghosting you. It disarms them, makes them feel comfortable. So I need to take a look at the contract, and then they haven't. So I'm guessing you haven't gotten around to looking over the contract yet. Actually, we did, and these are the questions we have. Or, you know what, we didn't. When would be the best time for me to call you to go over the contract, right? And so you can back into another one. So again, I'm guessing you haven't gotten around to speaking with your spouse yet. Oh, she's just been so busy, or I've been so busy, or he's been so busy. Or yeah, actually I did speak to them. They were thinking Saturday or Sunday, right? So it just softens it. And most of the time they'll feel a little bit more comfortable asking, because you've already given them permission to not have done what they said they were going to do. I'm guessing you haven't gotten around to check on right? So you need them to get quotes. You need them to sign something. You need them to do a little bit of work. The lender, right? I'm guessing you haven't gotten around to speaking with the lender. That never happens, right? They always talk to the lender right when you refer them over. So use that one with your follow-up, especially if you feel like someone's ghosting you. It's a little bit good. Help me understand. Nancy, could you help me understand, what is it that you're looking for in a listing agent? Help me understand, what do you feel like a realtor's job is, right? We've been asking that question for years, but we didn't have help me understand. Mm-hmm. This gives them an opportunity to tell you more, and you want them to tell you more, right? The person who has control of the conversation?
The person that asks the questions.
Person that's asking the questions. But also, psychology tells us that the person who does the most talking feels like the conversation is going best, because we're very self-centered people and we like to talk about ourselves. So next time you meet somebody, right, in a networking event or something like that, and you think, man, I just really like that person, chances are they asked you a lot of questions about yourself and you did most of the talking. And because you love the sound of your own voice, you just really like them. Linda's the best. I just love Linda, right? I know that sounds so cheesy, but it's absolutely true, right? Even if you don't feel like you're a self-centered person, the interactions you have where you got to talk, and of course, what subject do we love more than ourselves, right? So help me understand. Help me understand, what is your experience in pricing homes? Right? Well, I mean, I just looked at my neighbor's home and I just know that we should. Okay. Right. Now I can, or actually I jumped onto Zillow, and Zillow said, right. You know what I mean? That's a good one. Help me understand why you think your home didn't sell the first time you listed it. Right. If you're working with an expired or for sale by owner, that gives them permission to tell you all the things that did go wrong and didn't happen, and, perceived injustices. Someone said, that's what my husband said when he was dating. Ask women questions and let them talk about themselves. We landed you, Janice. Oh, it's funny. I love it. Okay, so this one is really, really good. Now, I'll tell you the caveat with, you have three, the way I see it, you have three options. You actually have to think through option 1 and 2. Option 3 is the option that you want them to choose, right? So you're going to give 3 options. The first option's not a great one. The second option, and the third option is the one that you really want them to do. And so what I have found is, again, the worst time to think about what to say is in the moment that you're saying it. So this is something you should prepare in advance, but it's really, really good stuff. Houston, we have a problem. Oh, there we go. Okay. Oh, I literally don't know what I just did. Where did my slides go? Did I push a button? Technical difficulties. Hold on. Let me unshare my screen. Yeah. Where's Kelsey? Okay. Holy cow. I just got signed out of everything. That was weird. Okay. Oh, I am still sharing my screen with the class.
Not anymore.
What is that noise? Okay, sorry guys. I'm actually got my slides pulled back up. Could it be possible? Help me understand. We have 3 options. This is the one we want. Okay. Let me go back to sharing that screen, add to stream. Holy cow. There we go. It wouldn't be life if there wasn't a little bit of technical difficulties. So, okay. So for sell by owner, let's just go out, So the way I see it, you have 3 options. You can list your home without any help. Option 2, you could help, work with me and I could help you find a buyer. Or option 3, let me list the home and I'll take care of everything. What's going to be easier for you? We figured it out. We ended up figuring it out. Right. So option 1, list your home without. So option 1, you could continue doing what you're doing and hoping that you're exposing the home to. Option 2, I could, maybe do an open house and possibly go through my pool of buyers, right? So that's more of the, would you be willing to pay me if I brought you a buyer, right? So, you could agree to work with me and I could look for a buyer for you. That's basically trying to get the buyer's commission. Or option 3, why don't you let me list the home? I'll take care of everything. What would be easiest for you, right? So there's another one with an expired. You have 3 options. You could relist the home with the same agent and hope for a different outcome. You could decide not to relist, which is a very viable option. Again, my job is not to convince them to list or not list, right? Or we could accomplish your goal of selling your home by listing it with me. What do you think is going to be the easiest thing for you? Right? So this one, I really love this for both buyer and actually even with your kids, with your spouses. Well, I see you have 3 options. Listen to me, or listen to me. I'm always right. But you do want to think in advance of what it is that you want to do. So I was doing this role play with an agent yesterday, and she's got a multi-million-dollar property in the Bay Area, and so we need to get a price reduction. So option 1, we do not adjust the price, and I continue to market the home, right? So you don't adjust the price. I'll continue to market the home. Option 2, we listen to the feedback of what the buyers are saying, take the home temporarily off the market, and do all of these repairs. That sounds fun. And hope that it brings in the price that we're looking for and covers the expense of the repairs. Or option 3, we adjust the price here based on what the recent comps have shown. Bring in a buyer, attract new, bringing the price to a whole new buyer pool, re-expose it, and get some new traffic on the home. What would be easiest for you, right? But again, we had to think through that. I'm like, what are his options? I'm like, can he rent the home out? And she's like, well, that actually could be an option. So we could have put that as an option in there, but they were at the point in the listing where it really made more sense to either address the repairs because he's not pricing the home based on the condition, right? So that was the bigger issue. The bigger issue wasn't, we've tried, we've lowered the price, it's still not selling. Maybe we should rent it out. It really was, dude, we told you it needed to be listed here. You wanted to list high. Now we're 50 days on market and all the feedback's coming back that they don't want to do these things, right? So that's why we put that one right there. And also, who's in control when you give them 3 options? They are. Yeah. Right? You're in control of the conversation because you are asking the questions, but they feel in control and that feels confident. So only a couple more magic phrases left. This one is, would it help? Right? So this is, if they're giving you a lot of no's and you're not able to really kind of get to where you want to go, like I just want to wait, right? This is a great one. Well, would it help in the meantime if I sent you a list of homes that recently sold near yours? Right? So, we're thinking we just want to wait. You can't get them to go. So, well, would it be helpful if, once a month I just sent you a snapshot of what's going on in the market? Now I've got permission to follow up with them. I'll take that, right? Would it be helpful to speak to some of our past clients and learn what it's like to work with us, right? Well, I was thinking about hiring this other person. Well, would it be helpful if I, connected you with some of our sellers who've had amazing experience working with us? They might say no, but at least you gave it an option, right? They want to speak to the spouse, that dreaded spouse. Would it be helpful if your spouse could speak with some of our past clients, right? Would it be helpful if I spoke directly with your spouse? It sounds like your spouse really wants to be involved in this process. Would it be helpful if I set up a time for the three of us to meet, right? You already know that, right? Like that's when you are setting up the appointment, make sure all decision makers are there. The for sale by owner doesn't want to pay a commission. Would it be helpful if you only paid a commission if we were to secure a buyer at or above asking price? That's pretty hard to refute right there. That's a good one. Would it be helpful if you only paid commission if we were to secure a buyer at or above asking price? Okay, the good news. This class is almost over. No. The good news is, and this is to help them feel more comfortable, right? So they have to reduce their price. Well, the good news is that based on what we're seeing in the market in your neighborhood, these 3 homes did a price reduction and they all went under contract, right? So the good news is to help them feel more confident. So they want to, the good news is I work with a lot of serious buyers. Would you like me to bring one over? Right? So that's more for sale by owner. How much do you charge? This one, I've never used this one. I like it. I charge X. So it's just like, this is what I charge. The good news is you don't pay any out-of-pocket cost or commission until the home is sold. I'll explain everything in detail when we meet. Are afternoons or evenings better? Weekdays or weekends? Right? So I do like the, well, yeah, so Merrill has said it. He's like, actually, I have a flexible commission structure. It starts at 6% and goes all the way down to $990. The good news is you don't pay any out-of-pocket costs or commissions until the home is sold. I'll explain everything in detail when we come over, right? I like that one a lot. That's a good one. Because no matter who you're working with, a lot of times they want to know, well, what do you charge, right? And we never want to just throw our commission out there without being able to show them everything that is that we're going to do, right? So they don't want to sign the agreement. The good news is that I have a simple cancellation policy with my agreement. If you're not happy with my services, you can cancel the agreement at any time. Now, we do actually have that written in our listing agreement that they can, they can cancel the listing agreement without any charge if they're not happy with us. We don't want to work with people who don't want to work with us, but it, disarms them, helps them feel a little bit more comfortable. Now, this one is a really, really, really good one. You can use this if someone sends you an email or a text message that is, you just need a little bit more time with. You can simply respond with, what makes you say that, right? I just need more time, right? We've decided not to sell our home. We've decided to list with so-and-so, right? There's a lot of practical applications. I'm just not willing to pay a commission. Well, what makes you say that? Again, it's a great kind of turnover phrase that allows you to get more time to think, collect your thoughts. I'm just not sure that we need to do an open house, or quite frankly, I just don't even want to have showings. So they say, well, I just don't think we need to allow people in the house during the week or at night in the evenings. What makes you say that? I'm curious. just out of curiosity, what makes you say that? What have you read that it's the wrong time, right? It's just not the right time for us to sell our home. What makes you say that? They're going to unpack, right? Well, my wife is actually really busy at work and she doesn't have time to do all the decluttering and organizing. Well, just imagine if I could get my crew in there and we could help you depersonalize the home, help you get it cleaned, help you, right? So I really like that. Okay. end of class, let's talk about what you guys should do. So number one, absolutely read the book. Like this is, I have it on Audible. Valerie on our team, I think, has listened to it like 5 times. I have it on Audible. I've listened to it 2 times. And I also have the physical book, and it is a true field guide. I'm finding myself referring to this book a lot and putting together little worksheets. So you got the link to both versions of the book. I recommend the version for real estate agents because starting, I think, on a page 130 or 179, there's actually a field guide. It's the coolest thing because it tells you all these types and these moments, and then it tells you exactly the magic words that you should say. So it's like probably 20 different pages of you're at an open house and they're already working with an agent. Just out of curiosity, who is your agent, right? There's just so many good ones in there. So after you read the book multiple times, right, you need to take time to think about what it is that you're going to say. This is where the work comes in. This is the kind of skill that you can't just read a book and think that you're going to be Phil Jones, right? Like it's just not going to happen. I wish, because Linda and I got to see him role play and he's so good, right? He's just really, really good. And he makes you feel so comfortable, but he's also pumping you for information and making you feel good at the same time. So you need to write out your responses. You need to start a Google Doc or start a, I saw you taking notes in your accountability book. Like you need to start a place. And I would even say before you go into making calls, like if you know you're going to make expired calls, have all of your magic phrases for expireds ready to go. If you're just making follow-up calls, well, that's a different set. I mean, it's still the magic phrases, but what comes next is a little bit different. So start to have that out and start to practice. And that's where I say practice and role play. So I know so many of you guys in the Resilient Realtor Facebook group are always like, oh, I would role play, but I don't have anybody. Find each other, right? If you're here in the Phoenix metro area, ask me. We've got team members. If you want to practice with a team outside of the Phoenix area, I know amazing teams all over the United States and even in Canada that have agents that are looking for reliable role play partners. And then I'll just say, if you are someone's role play partner, show up. Because the most common complaint that I get is, well, I found a role play partner and they just didn't show up, or it's all drama. Right. And when we go to role play, you guys are all busy. Don't be drama. Get there, get right down to action. Role play 10 minutes, 15 minutes. That's all you need. But do that and take it serious. So those are your action steps. Read the book, take some time to plan your responses, and then practice and role play it. Because as Phil Jones says, the worst time to think about what to say is in the moment you're saying it. And then do me a favor. I have 1 Google review. And Google will not show my business profile if I don't get to at least 5. So if you guys could do me a favor, you can Google Christy Jenks and you'll see my Google business page, or you can click on this QR code. And I would love it if you would leave a review on the class, or if I've ever done any one-on-one coaching with you, that would be phenomenal for me. I'd really appreciate it. And don't be afraid to ask for reviews for yourself, because Phil Jones has some amazing tools to be able to ask for reviews and to ask for referrals. So I appreciate you guys coming. Remember, if you're not part of the Resilient Realtor Facebook group, make sure to join that. The YouTube channel is going to have this on replay, and the resources can be found at christyjenks.com. And I appreciate you guys taking time to be with me on this Friday. Remember, what you say matters. It's time to work on those soft skills as we enter into a new market. You guys have a great day.